What's going on, guys? My name is Travis, here with UNR Fitness again, filming for Muscle and Hustle drop-in class. So last time we were here, we went over a nice lower body workout that you guys can do at home. Went through a proper warm-up, and we went through how to execute squats and lunges efficiently. Today, we're gonna go ahead and focus primarily on a nice upper body workout. Again, staying with the same theme, we're gonna stay body weight, some really simple basic exercises that you guys can do at home following along with me. Okay, this video will be about 20 to 30 minutes. We're gonna go through a nice little warm up. We'll go through a couple different variations of what we call bear stance. So a nice core exercise, upper body exercise. We're gonna work through some push-ups and then some finishing with some core exercises to wrap it up with. Okay, so go ahead and follow along. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and please do that. Fast forward it, rewind it, whatever you need to do in order to get the most out of this video here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start. We're gonna start nice and easy with some light warm-up. So I'm gonna start hands down by my head, by my sides, nice and loose. I'm gonna start with just some nice big circles through the neck. So trying to trace big circles. Go real slow on these. If you feel any point where you're stuck or it's bothering you a little bit, just ease off a little bit. Don't feel like you have to push this. It's got about 5 or so on one direction. We'll switch it up. Going the other way. Again, looking for 5 or so. Starting to breathe a little bit, thinking about exercise. Perfect. Let's get 5. We're gonna start with the shoulders next. So we're gonna go ahead and go up like we're gonna shrug. We're gonna pull the shoulder blades back. We're gonna push them down, and then we're gonna round forward. So we're just doing some circles with the shoulder blades, just kind of getting things moving a little bit. Nice and slow, trying to push all the way down. You can reach through the fingertips, pull the shoulders forward all the way, bring them up as high as you can, roll them back, press them down. We'll switch directions. So if you started forward first, go backwards, and get about 5 or so on your own. Trying to breathe through it. Perfect. Okay, so next one, we're gonna go through the full range of motion with the shoulders. So we're gonna start with thumbs up. We're gonna take the shoulders as high as you possibly can. Then we'll go ahead and rotate palms out, diving back behind us, and then coming straight up and through. Good. So full ranges of motion, as high as you can, as far back as you can. Good, and we'll go one more this direction. Good, and let's reverse it. So going back first. Good, coming up over top. Thumbs are up, pinkies are down. Get about 3 to 5 or so. And again, really try to push that end range of motion. So taking as far back as you possibly can till something stops you. Then palms face up. We're gonna come up over top as high as you can, reach through the fingertips, and then dropping down, hands by the side. Perfect, cool. Next thing we're gonna do is we'll drop down onto the floor. So if you have mats at home, get them out. You can go onto the carpet. We're gonna go onto our hands and knees here, okay? So we're gonna go onto all fours. So knees are in contact with the ground, palms are in contact with the ground as well, okay? We want to try to make a nice tabletop position here. So from the side, I look like this, okay? And all I'm doing from here is reaching underneath my torso, kind of walking those fingertips forward, getting a deep stretch, and then I'm gonna rotate out, reaching up, looking at the fingertips here. Again, reaching underneath, and then coming up over top. Good. I'll show you on this side. So we're gonna stretch underneath, kind of pull yourself. You can sit back into the hips a little bit. And then we'll come up, big exhale out. Good. Okay. So what I want you to do is we're gonna do about 10 of these on each side. Okay. So trying to take a deep breath in as you come underneath, and then breathe out as you come up over top. Let's get 10. Keep breathing through it. Let's go 3 more. 1, 2, perfect. And we'll switch it up. 10 on the other side. Good, we'll get about 4 more. And last one. Perfect. Good. You can come on up, relax a little bit. Cool. Next thing we're gonna do while we're down in this position, we're gonna work on what's called bear stance, okay? So this is a really popular position to kind of train from, a variety of different movements that we can do from this position. So we're gonna start with just some basic holds, then we'll add a variation to it, and then we'll put together a little sequence or a series that will challenge you a little bit, kind of get some work going. So first things first, we're gonna go back into our hands and knee position. So my wrist should be underneath my shoulder here, so they're not out in front of me, they're not too far behind, they're straight underneath those shoulders, okay? Same thing with my knees. My knee should be right underneath my hip, okay? I don't want it too far extended here or too close to my wrists, okay? So I'm nice and square. Next thing, I wanna make sure that I'm not arching my low back, okay? So my butt isn't up in the air. I want to kind of round my back so it's a little bit flat, okay? Not so far, nice and neutral. So you can kind of play around with that a little bit. You can arch the back, and then start to just settle in to a good neutral position there, okay? Your abs should be kind of drawn in towards your spine, okay? So your rib cage is down. We're not looking up here. We're tucked in tight here, okay? Next, we're gonna tuck our toes underneath us. So they're not flat, we're gonna tuck them, okay? Then from this position, all we're gonna do is lift those knees up off the ground about an inch or so, and we're gonna hold that position here. And you can drop, perfect. Good, go ahead and rest for a moment. So we're gonna practice that. We'll go 3 rounds. I want you to hold for about 10 seconds on each round, and then we'll go ahead and rest. All right, so locked into position. We're gonna get the back flat, push into our toes, into our heels, lift the knees up, hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and drop. Good, you can sink back a little bit, stretch it out. All right, rock forward. We're gonna get back into it, so tucking again, and we're up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. Shake it out, come off the arms a little bit. Okay, we're gonna get back into a position. Back's nice and flat, tucking the toes, pushing into those heels, and we're up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, rest. Perfect. Cool, so that's our first one that we're going through. So we only held it for 10 seconds. So if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, that wasn't very difficult for you, go ahead and bump up the time. Start with 20 seconds, work your way up to 30, maybe going towards a minute. You can do that now if you'd like. If you want to pause that video and try to hold as long as you can, or come back to that later and follow along with us now, okay? Next one we're gonna do a little variation. So back into that same position. So everything's the same, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. My back is flat and I'm tucking my toes. From here, I'm gonna lift, and then I'm gonna take one foot off the ground, back down, and then switch. One foot off the ground, back down. You can drop the knees. Good. All right, back into position. We're gonna come on up. One arm, back down, one arm, back down. Good. And if you saw, I kind of widened out my stance with my feet. So if I go too narrow, it's gonna make it difficult for me to lift my arms. But if I get my stance, see this way, so if I'm narrow here, it's difficult. If I go wider with my knees, it's a little bit easier to do, okay? All right, so back in a position, we're gonna call these bear stance around the world, okay? So we're gonna pick up one leg, put it down, next leg, put it down, arm down, arm down. That'll be one, okay? We'll go through it one together, and then we'll go through a series as well. Okay, so back into our bear stance. We're lifting up, nice and wide stance. We're tucked, we're tight. One foot off the ground. Next foot off the ground. Arm down, rest. Good. So a good point here is as we're picking up those limbs, right, whether it's our foot or our arm, we want to make sure that our hips aren't rocking side to side. So the goal here, the challenge, is to keep the hips, the shoulders square to the mat, challenging our core, maintaining that position, okay? So what I want you to do at home, you're gonna do 3 around the world, one direction, and then 3 around the world, the other direction. If you need to set down your feet and rest your arms, go ahead, that's completely okay, okay? I'm gonna try to knock it out all in one go. Okay, so tucking, knees under the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders, walking it up, foot, foot, arm, arm, foot, foot, arm, arm, foot, foot, arm, arm. Good, I'll switch it. Arm, arm, foot, foot, arm, arm, foot, foot. Last one, arm, arm, foot, foot. Good. Good job, guys. Perfect. So really easy bear stance there, going through around the world. You can make those more difficult by holding longer with an arm up or a foot up. Do more rounds, of course. Big thing is keep those knees close to the ground. Make sure that as you start going, your butt doesn't start coming up into the air, keeping those knees about an inch or so off the ground, okay? Okay, next thing we got, we're gonna go through something a little bit more challenging, okay? So this is gonna be a bear stance position that we just were in, and we're gonna do a walkout. So we're gonna go from bear stance, nice and into a nice long push-up position, okay? So I'm gonna get rid of these mats. Start bear stance. So same position, tuck, tuck, coming on up. And then from here, keeping my knees low, my hips solid, walk out those wrists as long as you can, and then we'll bend the knees, back to bear stance, okay? So again, the goal is to not rock the hips. We want to keep square to the ground as we take our steps long, straighten out those legs, bend the knees, walking it in. Good, and you can rest. Good, so we're gonna go through that. I want you to get 5 of them in a row, okay? I'll count them down. You can do them with me or do them on your own. So getting into our bear stance, we're gonna lift up, tuck, walk it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. Keep knees low, and 5. And rest, shake it out, shake it out. Good, so that's a little series you can do. Make it a little bit harder. You can put them all together. You can do around the world, then you can go right in to your walkouts next, okay? Pretty simple, easy to do. Make them your own, make them challenging at home on your own, okay? All right, next thing we're gonna go through, another primary movement. You guys probably see a lot within the gym. Maybe you've done some at home. This movement tends to get butchered. The execution is typically pretty poor. So what I'm gonna do is go through technique, go through a couple modifications or variations that you can do at home. And then what we're gonna have you do is go through kind of a max push-up or as many push-ups as you possibly can do, okay? So setting up for a push-up, couple things we want to think of. Get closer. So our hand position, similar to our bear stance, we want to think about getting the wrist underneath the shoulder, okay? So that our wrist, our elbow, and our shoulder are in one straight vertical line. So this is called stacking the joints. Another key tip with push-ups is your hands. So you don't want to just push into your full hand and have it flat. Sometimes you can get a lot of what we call impingement right in the wrist joint. So what I recommend is kind of grabbing into the ground until the tips of your fingers turn white. And what this should do is create a little bit of a pocket within your palm, okay? So that's just gonna create a little bit of stability and kind of get those small muscles of the hand kind of working a little bit to allow the wrist to move a little bit better. Also create some more stability down on the ground, okay? So that's gonna be our arm position. Our lower body position, we want straight legs. Notice how I'm pushing into the ground with my heels. My back is flat. I'm kind of tucking and squeezing my butt, but I'm not dropping it down. So my hips are about as high as my shoulder blades there. So I'm pushing from my palms into my heels. And if I wasn't this floor wasn't sticky, I would push myself back like that, okay? So that's a bit of an exaggeration, but the goal is to create as much force from our hands into our feet and transfer it through our body, okay? So let's just practice that position, okay? We're not gonna go ahead and do push-ups quite yet. I just wanna go ahead and get into it. We're gonna do a 10-second count hold, okay? So hands are flat on the ground, pushing into my fingertips as much as I can till they're white, creating a little bit of a gap or a C shape in my palm. I'm gonna extend my legs so they're straight, pushing into my heels, I'm tucking my butt, and then I'm kind of pulling my elbows in towards my torso a little bit. So they're not flared out, they're gonna come down this direction, okay? But right now we're just gonna hold. So I want you to tighten and hold. We're gonna hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, drop a knee and rest. Shake out the arms. We're gonna go again, okay? Same position. Okay, nice and long, pushing into those heels, tucking the butt, and we're gonna hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay, so on this one, we're gonna do one more. I want you to think about squeezing everything as hard as you possibly can. So you're gonna push into those heels, you're gonna squeeze your butt, you're going to think about pulling your arms together a little bit, tighten your abs, try to create as much tension as you possibly can, okay? So we're back into position. So digging my fingertips in, creating that space in my hand. My wrists are underneath my shoulders. I'm gonna make myself nice and long and hard squeeze for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Perfect. So that's the starting position. All right. We're going to talk about the ending position. Okay. So obviously, as we lower ourselves down, okay, I'm going to go on my knees, but I'll show you a full push-up. So same idea if you're going to do a modified push-up. Our butt's not back here. We want to push hips forward, tuck them. So now my knees, my hips, and my shoulders are in one straight line. But bottom position, we want to make sure the elbows are not flaring out here with our shoulders. We want to tuck them in towards our torso just slightly. So they should be going back at about a 45-degree angle here. So we're here, 45 here. I'm gonna tuck, and then I'm going to push myself up all at once, okay? So I'll show you from the front view. Okay, so what I don't wanna do is this, right? I want to drive back and then push out, okay? So modified push-ups, we can go onto our knee is one modification, right? So my feet are up, my hips are tucked, and my back is flat, okay? So we're not, as we go down, we're not leaving the butt up in the air, right? We want to drop those hips, kind of come down onto the thighs as we move, right? Another modification we can do, let me see if I can pull this out. So we can get something sturdy at home. You could do like a dresser or bed frame, kitchen counter, all works fine. Make sure that it is stable and it's gonna support your body weight. And then same idea, okay? So we're gonna make ourselves long here, right? And then from there, you just execute the same push-up if you were down on the ground, okay? So what we're gonna do next is I want you to go ahead and pick whatever push-up variation you wanna do, whether it's elevated up here, or a kitchen counter, or you're gonna go down on your knees, or you're gonna go full push-up on the ground. Whatever one, your preference. And what I want you to do is we're gonna go through 3 rounds of as many repetitions as you possibly can do, keeping that same form, okay? That's the key. As soon as your form breaks down, you're done. That's no more reps. You have to rest, and then you can try again on the next round, okay? Rest periods. I want you to rest as much as you need. Rest until you feel ready again to get as many push-ups as you possibly can get, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate 3 sets on the ground. I'm probably just gonna stick to about 10 reps or so, just to kind of give you a good idea of how they're executed and how the form should look, okay? So I'll put this back. Okay, so on your own, you can follow with me, or you can do it on your own tempo, whatever you feel comfortable with. So I'm in push-up position, pushing into my heels, easy down, big push. Perfect, there's my 10. You can rest as long as you need, grab some water, do what you gotta do. Okay, we're almost there. We're gonna go 2 more rounds, push-ups, and then we'll go ahead and call it good for today. So whenever you're ready, knock out your second round. Try to get as many push-ups as you did on that first round. All right, once you finish your second round, go ahead and rest. Grab another drink of water, shake it out. Again, you can take as long as you need till you're ready for your last and final round. Last thing we're gonna do today, okay? Shake it out. I'm gonna give myself about 15 more seconds. And don't worry, if you started in push-up position like I am right here and you get tired, you can modify it. Elevate yourself, make it a little easier that way, or go onto those knees, finish out your last round there. And then week to week, your goal is to see if you can do all 3 sets in the same position, okay? All right, last one, my last 10 reps, get as many as you got. All right, guys, there it is. That's all I have for you for today. Thanks for joining. Again, my name is Travis at UNR Fitness, filming for Muscle and Hustle class. Next video, we're gonna go ahead and go through another lower body workout. So please stay tuned, join in. We'll see you next time.